Upcoming, guys. We are out here. Sanders
Mine's
VIP.
supposed to light up, but I've had this for a year now, and I couldn't find the batteries for it.
Good call. I mean, I'm guilty for getting this for this event.
But it says too lit to quit.
Too lit to quit. So that's a very cool shirt. Guys, so we're almost getting ready to close out the year. We got the holiday season. We're excited. We're going to go over some interesting stuff today. Last week we were cooking in the kitchen with some Bisco Cheetos. Today we're cooking tea. We're doing a little bit of, just tea time here. Me and Bennett, we're going to talk about cannabis gift ideas for Christmas, guys. This is that time of year for all kinds of, shopping, and we are obviously expecting and feeling the traffic increase in the stores in the holidays right now.
For sure.
Interestingly enough.
New patients, so people are bringing by their family members that are coming into town, things like that, and it's actually fun to see the friendly faces and the recommendations. Oh, try this. I really like this. And
so we want to get fully set up for that in all the best ways, guys, and we already know how we're going to be doing that. So giving you guys some demos, not only some ideas on what you may want to shop for yourselves for, cannabis gifts, but what you may want to recommend for our community members out there, because we're talking, cannabis during the holidays. 2023, guys, numbers are up. You're looking like over 63% of Americans will be using and participating in cannabis in some way, shape, or form over the holidays. Whether or not they are hiding it from their family, that's none of my business. But guys, for today's episode, we're hopefully encouraging that you guys are having those conversations with your friends, with your family during those times around the table. I don't know if you guys are gonna be cooking or helping clean or whatever part of the Christmas process that you're gonna play in, or just be wrapping presents or whatever, but cannabis might be a great way to alleviate some of that seasonal affective disorder that can be coming during the holidays, those just holiday blues that the stress of having to work, having to pay for things, and
having to be Santa,
have to maybe heal with your whatever family gripe that you have going on before you go and see them, or swallow that pride and have to figure it all out, right? So anyways, we get it, guys, and
it's
those
a time
of you
for giving. So what other way to give is give the knowledge of cannabis, or even just give somebody the gift of their first time of use, but giving it to them nice and educated, nice and slow, because that's how we go.
Yes, so holiday special, guys. What are we talking about today? Of course, we are making this tea right now. It's been basically just about boiling right now, as you can kind of see it shaking in that camera. And what we're going to do is show how to repurpose and actually use other parts of what you consume, aka this volcano vaporizer, and the decarboxylated cannabis that is the basically waste from here. But instead of ashing it in an ashtray, this decarboxylated cannabis, you can cook with it. And you can not only cook with it to, decarboxylate into Bisco Cheetos as we did last week, guys, but we're going to put this into our tea, and we're going to enjoy some cozy chamomile tea infused with cannabis. We're going to show you exactly how we're doing it. We're going to show you guys, if you haven't been super familiar or seen much vaporizer use, talk about it. It's something to think about and explore. We'll talk about those.
They're interesting. They're very useful. Perfect part about it is that you get a perfect temperature. You get to control the temperature, and you get to activate your terpenes and your cannabinoids at their exact temperatures that you would like. So that's the best part about it. And you have a material afterwards that you can still reuse. So it's a win-win in my eyes.
Absolutely, guys. And especially with our Christmas specials, $80 ounces, you could really, really maximize that dollar, not only medicating, with a very nice clean dose of medicine, cleanest you're going to get, and then be able to cook with it after and, impress your friends and family over the holidays. So we're going to show you guys, give you a little demo of this. Bennett's going to get the bag started. We're going to show you guys, for those of you guys who haven't seen much of the volcano vaporizer, in use, this is it. And so it's a nice heated bag. Yes, exactly. And we've got it on, I guess, looks like temperature about 7.5 right now. It's the Volcano Classic. The Classic doesn't have the big digital dial on front, but it's still just as good. And as soon as that vapor actually starts coming out, she throws the bag on top, so it's a nice good cloud that's going into the bag of fully medicated snozzberries from Animus Cannabis. So that's what we are smoking on in there, guys. Exactly. Delicious indica strain. Terpenes include myrcene, linalool, limonene, and I believe caryophyllene. So, you know, very fruity, peppery aromas there, and you can taste it very, you know, well through the obviously vapored cannabis. And so what we're going to do is show you how we're repurposing the flower. You know, Bennett's starting the bag, and we'll just basically, you know, open up this used, now browned, decarboxylated flower. Boom. Bennett medicates with the bag. Passes me the bag. I medicate with the bag, right? We know this part.
All too well.
So it's cool. And not many people are used to seeing, right, like the bag, right? Or, you know, for instance, many used to seeing glass and going that way, and that's totally great. But we're just giving you guys the demos because there's different things out there. And
so many different things. And to be honest, as you can see, it's a very smooth hit. We didn't really cough. And it's very tasty. You get to really experience the full terpene flavor of your flower. So yeah, it's very minimal, but you can picture, you know, tia, tío, your older family members, you know, who can't really take a cough attack. You know, this would probably be ideal. A vaporizer would be ideal because you can manipulate and control the temperatures and make sure that it's a low temperature. And the lower the temperature, the tastier the product most of the time too. So,
absolutely, guys. And basically, a lot of your, you know, elderly population who doesn't want to smoke anymore, and they're like, well, I used to smoke back in the day. This is that great alternative because, again, vaporized cannabis is definitely carcinogen free. It's the healthiest way to truly consume it, yes. Minus, right, if you're going to do like an edible or anything like that. But your healthiest way to inhale it for sure.
For sure. The healthiest inhalation method. And so this volcano is a pretty big investment whenever you think about it. If you guys were to go and look at the price range for this, they are pretty pricey, but it is for a reason. It is a quality product. It does get the job done. You saw how easy it was. The only process that you didn't see was us grinding up the flour and putting it into the container, and it's a mesh container that will seep through the heat.
Yes, and so for part of the demo, guys, what we're doing here now, infusing the cannabis into the tea. The water's just about at that boil, so we're going to throw this in here. And so it's not actually tea yet. This is literally just boiling water, and we're going to throw the cannabis and a tablespoon of butter.
Remember, adding your lipophilic or your fats are important.
And guys, what we're going to do here is let that cook on low heat for about 15 minutes here while we talk about, you know, Christmas and, you know, the holidays, the holiday season, all that. You know, using cannabis in multitudes of ways, guys, as we showed last week over at Chaparral. You know, got to make those bizcochitos. I hope you guys like those bizcochitos. Wanted to unveil in the meantime as well a little gift. Going to be rolling out to the stores. This one is from your team at Farm True. We got every single person a 1-to-1 gummies, guys. And as we're talking about, you know, gifting cannabis this holiday season, this is Farm True's gift to you. However, again, this is a perfect one for you to pass right along to somebody else. You know, the 1-to-1 is a great newbie, novice user, you know, cannabis curious, cannabis confused, cannabis naive kind of, you know, cannabis treat to be able to show up at your Christmas, starters, exactly. Christmas stocking stuffer special there. So, you know, whether you guys want to enjoy it yourself or you want to pass it along, you know, that's our gift to you, and we hope you guys enjoy that. So for sure, we will get those out to you, you know, between today, tomorrow, and everything like that. But every single one of you guys on the High Horse team definitely has a little goodie coming your way. So, you know, thinking about how you're going to stock those stuffings this year, or, you know, ask for gifts. Some people might be asking, hey, what do you want? And I don't know, maybe you weren't able to ask for something cannabis in years past, and now it's a little bit more, you know, easier. Exactly.
It's less taboo, and it's an easier conversation to, yeah, actually, can you get me a full grandma syringe and I'll make bizcochitos for everybody? And then, yeah, so it's a gift that gives back.
Yes, and so, I mean, exactly. You could be asking for a new piece. You could be asking for any sort of cannabis accessories, a grinder, you know, maybe a High Horse shirt, or an ashtray, right? There's so many different things in the cannabis space that you could ask for. You know, some people appreciate just, you know, fun cannabis gifts, whether they're, you know, t-shirts or
Lighters.
posters, lighters, all
Lighters
the
are always
collectibles. What's your, I mean, go-to collectible or, you know, item when it comes to cannabis?
For sure, it has to be stickers. I collect a lot of stickers, and then I want to say lighters. Lighters have to be it, but then I lose them. It's just as easy.
Yes,
so
fair.
pocket
But like
thieves.
having a cool lighter at some point, it's always like, hey, oh, this is a cool lighter, or it's like kind of special for as long as you get to have it, right? So again, when you guys thinking of simple, you know, fun cannabis-based gifts to give, obviously a lighter and maybe right like a thing of Matchbox
Or even
pre-rolls,
something-
which
yeah,
already
something to
has a
protect
match
the-
in it, but
Ooh, yeah.
that's still a cool gift in terms of our High Horse Cannabis Company, you know, store offers, guys. We've got our deals happening, as we already know. Chocolates, the ounces, farmers, $20. But then we have one that we're rolling out, and if we haven't announced it yet, but it's going to be the first 42 to start off the 2024 year. Let's talk about this one.
So this has been, if you've been a shopper at High Horse, you know that, or if you are a first 42, you know what this is. But let's break it down for those who don't know. A first 42 at High Horse means that during a special event that High Horse held, you were one of the first 42 patients or clients to come in and purchase, which granted you 1 year worth of one pre-roll with a purchase. So if you come in any day and you make your regular purchase of your, you know, your syringe or your flower or whatever it may be, a pre-roll, you take another pre-roll for free for being the first 42 to come in and purchase. So for the new year, we're going to be restarting that, so all of our stores can restart. And I believe it'll be restarting for our Valley and our Chaparral location, because Maine has just recently begun that one when they opened up. So it'll be a restart for Chaparral and Valley. So be sure to check out those shops, and yeah,
so every single one of those stores can be open at the new year, right? At midnight?
At midnight.
So thank you to guys, all you guys who are working during our holiday season, staff in our stores, you know, for sure. Thumbs up to all you workers.
Chaparral, you'll have to catch January 1st at 7 a.m. on the dot, because we have to close at 12 a.m.
So right at midnight.
Yes.
So 7 a.m., that's when you can start your first 42. But other than that, guys, over at, you know, 420.
At Valley. Mm-hmm.
Man, that's awesome. So very cool things to think about. I wonder if we're, how did that go the first time around? Do you remember?
I do remember. It was pretty cool. There was only about a few people that were our usuals that had heard us say it over and over and over, that had come in over the time. And we're like, remember, at our block party, when you come by, if you're one of the first 42, you get to get a free pre-roll for a year. And they were like, a free pre-roll for a year?
Every time.
So they were just remembering. So we had quite a bit of a line of our usuals waiting out front. But I think the funniest part and the funnest part about it all was the people who were just moseying away to their way to the dispensary, didn't know, just showed up, and we were like, congratulations, you get one free pre-roll a day for a year. And they're like, what? So they're kind of like, they're embedded with us for a year, you know, because they get a free pre-roll. And it's not to make you come every single day. It's just that every single time that you come and purchase from us, you're not just getting your purchase, you're getting your additional free pre-roll. So, you know, if you'd like, you can come purchase every single day. But so there was a few people in Chaparral that's how they saw it. They were coming every single day, and they were purchasing a pre-roll every day and taking home 2.
I remember working for Walmart, actually, but it was in Albuquerque anyways. There was a Chick-fil-A that opened next door, and they gave out like free Chick-fil-A sandwiches for a year. I didn't get it, but my pharmacist did, and she was all pumped up. And anyways, I was like, that was such a cool deal. But this is such a cool deal. That's what I'm saying, like repurposed, you know. People do that when they open new stores, when holidays happen, but things like that. Make sure you guys hype that up. I mean, for sure.
Pass the word around and make sure that you're part of the first 42. It doesn't hurt. Come by. You get to, anytime you make a purchase at High Horse, you get to take something free, which is your pre-roll for free for an entire year. So if you come by, buy a vape, you get to take your pre-roll. You come buy a pre-roll, you take a pre-roll. Buy an eighth, you take a pre-roll. Buy an ounce, you take your pre-roll. Buy anything, you take your pre-roll.
So super great deal, especially for your local people who are, especially those shoppers, guys. I mean, good idea if you have, your favorite shoppers, let them know, but everybody should definitely know the deal because we want to be having people, nice and lined up and ready to go at that time.
It'll
New
be
Year's
fun.
2024.
So midnight at Valley and 7 a.m. at Chaps.
So next week we'll be recapping the end of the year. We're going to go through basically our High Horse highlights for 2024, and we're going to talk about all of that, guys, and get to reflect on 2023 and what we're going to be doing in 2024. There's so much that could be happening next year. Cannabis could be getting rescheduled, descheduled, federally legalized. I mean, who knows? We went from 0 to 3 stores this year. Is that correct? Or
Actually, yeah, 0 to 4.
4. Oh, 0 to 4. So
actually, this year we went
1 to 4. 1 to 4. Excuse me.
Because yes, I was like, wait. We were already Chaparral was around for 2022. Man, the years are flying by. Yes, the Chaparral is around for 2022. So it'll be 2024, and it'll be Chaparral's 2nd anniversary in May, late April. May. I think May is actually the correct term day.
Well, that's very exciting and a lot to reflect on. Hope everybody does make that time to spend a little time with their friends and family over the holidays. I mean, enjoy it, guys. I know there could be so much stress and pressure from the holidays, but it's, I know the cheesy cliche thing to think about what it's all about, but really, really is. Enjoy those moments that you have with people that may not always be there forever, right? And
exactly.
Just savor it all. And cannabis, a great tool for savoring, right? It's a great tool for PTSD and decreasing those recurring, memories in the amygdala, things like that.
The anxiety.
Hit, some of these times, if you have, are going through this season without somebody in your life, you lost a loved one, right? It can be working in the same ways to help you heal, right? It's not something that you want to go to avoid, right? But you want to go and just use it to heal, savor things, and not be able to ideally try to, avoid some of the lows.
And that's a really great thing to bring up. We talk about finding your dose all the time, but it's also important to know why you consume and know your reasoning for consuming and what outcome you want when you consume. So, and that's also a really big thing when we bring up kind of the mental health aspect of things. So let's just remember that when you're consuming this holiday season, remember what you're consuming for and your reason for consuming. So make sure it's to increase bliss, remember?
Exactly. And that's the perfect way to talk about it. Sometimes you go in the holidays and you see your friends and family members who might be sick or, might not be having a great time or whatever that might be. And it's not like you're going to go and offer them cannabis by any means, but it's just another way to recognize, to be, there for people and to do, your best to just chill out, right? And it's hard to say those things in different ways when you hit those different pressures from the holidays. You may have just be going through the school seasons with your kids, or yourself could be in school, right? Up and down, or just the pressures of daily. So I mean, ideally 2024 is a year of healing for everybody.
The pressure
and we can
of gift giving. Let's talk about the real thing. Everybody has that big pressure of gift giving, and little things, the thought of it. So like even making someone a batch of medicated something, that's just the thought of it. Or making someone unmedicated cookies just because it's the thought of it. Don't pressure yourself to go all out and above and beyond, So that's another big thing around this time of year. Don't pressure yourself for all that.
Oh yeah, just do it. You got to just, understand your wheelhouse a little bit there and just be comfortable with it. There's no need to, need excess for things that, you want to impress who, right? It's like just some of those things to come down to earth with and think about, in a childlike way, what makes you happy, what makes you enjoy the world, right? How can you get to that state of mind and that point? Cannabis, a great tool, obviously on the Full Spectrum podcast that we'll talk about here. We're making tea. We're getting the cozy tea. We got Choose Happy on this cup.
Good vibes only.
So again, great uses for cannabis, guys, and that's what we hope to spread in those messages here. Yeah, we're trying not to spill the tea, but we got the tea here for you guys. And we're going to introduce our 4 little packs turn it on low and cook it for a few minutes, and then we're going to enjoy it. And this is the thing, we want this to look normal. This should look normal. You know, everybody's used to sitting down at the table and, you know, busting open a box of wine and slapping the bag, or, you know, playing
especially during
flip
the
cup,
holidays,
right?
yeah.
All the things you do during the holidays, and it's totally cool, totally fun, gets people together, and there's no reason that you have to be the guy that hides in the back room to go consume your cannabis because, you know, people aren't comfortable with it. So it's time to start opening up, breaking those barriers, everything like that, consuming, you know, and not being afraid, right? It shouldn't be like that anymore. You should be able to talk about your healing adventures with it, share with your friends and family and loved ones there, and not be judged and not be
There's usually some pretty cool quotes
ostracized, anything like that. Checking for quotes.
Cozy chamomile. Every cup counts. Let's get cozy and steeped in family values. Oh, there's no quotes, but.
And you can really put it into any kind of tea. It doesn't have to just be chamomile. It's just what we picked right now. I saw, you know, obviously every kind of tea available. But again, if you just want to chill out, watch a movie, change it up a little bit, right, guys? You can definitely do this. And you don't have to use, you can decarboxylate it, guys. Our budtenders, we sent you guys a little guide. Again, we sent it last week again, but we're reinforcing it this week with the how to decarboxylate cannabis. Why is it important, right? You're activating the cannabis from that acidic form, making it active so it can actually be useful after you're done cooking with it. And so whether you're infusing it into the butter, putting it in oil, or some sort of alcohol base, I mean, these are the importance to make sure that we get that fundamental down. You're decarboxylating, you spend that time in there, right? And you know that has to be done first, and then boom, you're good to go. Otherwise, if you're cooking with a decarboxylated oil such as FSO, or, you know, even distillate, or all of your concentrates and your resins and things like that, those have already been decarboxylated, so you can just insert them direct. But to cook with your flour,
they're a lot more potent too, though. So that's a good thing to remember.
So some people, you know, like to use maybe like the shake to cook with, or, you know, not the best butter, whatever that might be. It's always good to be resourceful with your cannabis, and that's kind of what we're preaching here. Is, you know, Christmas is the time to try to save a little money and extend that dollar, right? So if you can think of ways to do that, you know, always worth it. And again, you know, who wouldn't like a plate full of, you know, cannabis gingerbread cookies or whatever that might be brought to the Christmas party? Obviously, you're going to be a winner showing up with that.
That was, yeah.
Some delicious stuff.
That's going to be my go-to. I'm probably going to make some bizcochitos this weekend for a Christmas party.
What about out of our sales items, what would you say is your favorite? We've got our chocolate, our flour ounces.
I would say definitely
the
chocolates. Those chocolates are a holiday, like, it just reminds me of like those holiday chocolates that people gift, you know, in those boxes. They're very pretty. They're delectable. They don't taste like cannabis. And for like the cannabis naive, they're easily able, like the cups, the peanut butter cups, you can split them up and, you know, actually share that. Or, you know, you can have a whole cup to yourself.
And that's a good point. It's like one of those things that you may not buy very often, right? And so it's like, hey, I want to change it up. I want to get somebody a cool gift. You know, let's get one of these cool, you know, farmers chocolates.
Share it, you know, it's like, oh, you get one and I get one. 60 milligrams. It's not too bad. It's something that you guys can probably both. It just depends on your guys' dose. But I know me and my friends, that's a typical dose for us. Or we could even split it up in half, and that be a dose and a dose. Later on, take another dose and a dose. So.
You're right. And like, yeah, exactly. Right before we get into Valentine's and things like that, but this is the perfect time if you're going to, you know, maybe get your loved one a little basket of, you know, cannabis goodies, throw in something they might not have tried before, you know, like, yeah, exactly. Or some sort of, or stocking, you know, maybe it's not basket time, whatever you do, you know, to show your love. That's a perfect stocking stuffers, and we've got them on sale, so make sure to promote those.
If you guys go by around happy hour, you get to buy the pre-rolls during happy hour, so pre-rolls are perfect for stocking stuffers as well. And we have different varieties, different brands, different strains, so different things for you guys to choose from for that individualized stocking.
Yes, and I mean, you could probably even fit a good ounce in there in our little High Horse bag.
An ounce of pre-roll, an edible, yeah.
One of each.
A topical.
Got to set people up, guys. It's stocking stuffer time. Make sure to talk about that too, because everybody wants that extra little sweet treat or whatever it may be, the little cannabis gift ideas.
Honestly, I'm all for giving things that people use and like they often spend their own money on. That's what I like to do. It makes it feel like, oh, well, then I don't really have to buy this for another little bit because so and so gifted me that, and that's my go-to.
Agreed. And exactly the point there, guys. So talk to your patients, your customers, your friends and family, and like, hey, what are you buying for Christmas? What are you stocking the stuffers with? What are you asking for? Obviously you're here shopping for cannabis. You probably would like, cannabis. Make sure to ask your friends and family for cannabis. Tell them to go to High Horse. I like this here. It's on freaking special. It'll be on special whatever time. So whenever you're done with all your Christmas shopping and all your stress, just go sneak that little trip in real quick. Get what I want, which is, an ounce of some snozzberries, and, fill me up, and it'll be good, and we'll be happy, right? So, sometimes, dad likes his whiskey, mom likes her wine, whatever it may be. Well,
this mom likes
dad,
her
right?
dabs.
This mom, exactly. So, boom, fill it up, and it's changed the narrative a little bit. It doesn't have to put you in jail anymore, right? So, again,
choose happy.
Choose
good
happy.
Vibes only. Live, laugh, love.
So we're going to try to pour this tea without making a big giant mess here. Let's see how this works out.
Okay, here. Wait. There we go.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And it's getting a ripe cup of tea.
Oh my goodness.
Right. So far, so good.
I'm gonna be cozy after this. Like, it's an indica strain, right?
It is snozzberries.
So we just smoked an indica strain. We're smoking. We're drinking chamomile tea, and it's medicated. Yeah.
So we'll have a little butter in it. I doubt we're even going to taste it, but that's going to be the part that really helps make sure we get what we need out of there. This was 4 cups of water. Obviously, budtenders and High Horse team, we sent you guys the recipe for how to do this at home. Take advantage of it. Try it. You saw us do this as we're just chilling, talking to you guys. Anybody can make tea. This isn't like rocket science. So that was it. I mean, you don't need a hot plate either. We just had one.
For the sake of the podcast.
For the sake of the podcast. So there's that. Got our tea. I could have used like more of a cheese filter and a coffee filter on this. This was just not even gonna lie, this is a Family Dollar $1 sink strainer filter.
When I looked at it right now, when you put it in your cup, I was like, what is that?
So yeah, you can use it for your sink, but it got the job done. It's like, it doesn't look too bad in there.
It does not.
So it looks how you would expect cannabis tea to look. So
like every bee, I need honey.
Fair. So, pretty good. Not gonna lie.
Actually,
Taste the chamomile, taste a little bit of cannabis.
and that
it's got
mix
the myrcene. You can taste some terps.
The mix of that is actually pretty good.
So I know females really like tea. Males may not be the, sit down and make tea with the homies kind of thing, but change it up, guys. Change the narrative.
Have a tea party with the
Choose
homies.
happy.
Okay, cheers.
Cheers. Good vibes only. Live, laugh, love.
Live, laugh, love, live.
So that's what we're talking about today. We've got questions. Thank you guys for submitting questions. We're going to be asking feedback and questions from everybody now on the weekly basis, but thank you for all the proactive ones this week, guys. We're going to discuss those as we consume some of our cozy chamomile cannabis-infused tea here.
So this week I have a question from Chaparral that actually really sparked my interest. It was actually kind of falls a little bit in line with what we did today. So it's from the in Chaparral. Why do roaches get you higher when you re-roll it and smoke it? And why do joints and blunts make resin at the end and on your lips? So I feel like that's kind of, it falls into the same answer, and it's going to be resin. And I believe that resin is going to be maybe contain a full spectrum because it's then activated. So then all of that terpenes and those trichomes burn up and they run down as you're inhaling, and then it gets on your lips. And so usually we leave that little end piece, so then that little end piece is just coated in all of that. And when you re-roll it and smoke it, it gives you a full spectrum effect, which, most people are not used to a full spectrum effect because they chase a THC. They look for the high percents in THC. So once you re-roll that, you get introduced to THC, CBD, CBN,
Yes, exactly.
all at the same time.
That was kind of my point that I was going to tie into too, is like I was reading like an Instagram post or something, but I thought it was a good point just about people, talking about how cannabis in the past was not so, strong and potent, so on and so forth. But interestingly enough, the point that somebody made was, maybe it was just as strong and potent, but now it's being THC bred and THC preserved. So a lot of that cannabis that you would buy back in the day might have been degraded. So it's a lot of CBN properties, right? A lot of THCA, and it was and so exactly. So it caused those sleepy effects or even more giggly effects that could be associated from that more degraded version than just a THC, stabber. So it's just an interesting concept there. And the same thing goes, with that roach, right? So once it's roached, yes, you've got that resin, you've got a lot of whatever THC preservatives right there at the end, and then it degrades probably overnight or the next day. And
most people even save them. They save them for like a week, and they're like, you know what, my stash is low. I don't get paid for another 2 days. Whatever,
so, exactly.
And they roll it up.
It gives you maybe kind of a sleepy, and the sleepiness may make us attribute it to a more high, or if you're mixing the roach with flour or something else. On top of that, you're getting a CBN plus a heavy CBN mix plus, right, your flour. So, I mean, those are various reasons why it could be. On top of if it's just like a really, really heavy trichome flour that just gets resiny right at the bottom, and again.
So that would be honestly the reason. So if you pick your strains, and you like to see the crystals on it, and you like to see the trichomes, most likely once you're smoking it, it's going to have a lot of resin at the end. And for that reason, a lot of times when I smoke, I like to inhale through my nose, and that's called French inhaling. And unfortunately, I will also find resin in my nose.
Fair, but
it's being filtered because that's what your nose hairs are supposed to do. But I'd rather it go in my nose than on my lips and in my mouth. Then it's easier to clean. That's just my
smoke tricks. And you'll even get a little bit of resin like in the bag here, right? It's just a part of that property of the plant. And again, when it's heated, that oily part that comes from the plant, it's got the sappy oil in there, and it goes somewhere, right? So again, at the bottom of the roach, wherever it may be, at the bottom of your dab rig,
bottom of the
bag. So it is reusable stuff, guys, as we do talk about.
Not ideal, but it's good, especially if you use it right away. Like we said, over time it will degrade, and over time it's not the greatest. It's not gonna give the greatest effects, but it's still usable product, especially for those clients, or those of us that are on a budget.
Absolutely.
Look at this. We smoked and we made tea.
So it's a very cozy afternoon as the clouds are kind of down. It's been a rainy day, right? It's a perfect day for tea, actually. And so, again, if you guys are having, cannabis date night, guys, go impress, your significant other. Try something like this, or, something of sorts. Try cooking with her. It's a cool shared activity you can do.
Be like, where'd you learn this? Oh, I saw it on this podcast, and they taught me how, and look.
Exactly.
Or you could just say, I know how to do it.
And just say, I know how to do it. Bring the kit, right? You can go and buy the cookie kits or whatever those are. Infuse a little cannabis, salt-based style. Make sure that they know what's in there. You can calculate your dose and stuff right? So our snozzberries here, I didn't weigh what came out of here, but we could have estimated theoretically what came out. If this was, let's say, a gram of snozzberries, and the snozzberries, I think, said like 21.9% or something, right? So maybe, right, something like 200 milligrams of cannabis THC in there, maybe at max. And again, it did get a little, it got decarboxylated, and a lot of THC did get burned. So, you're probably somewhere in less than 100 milligram range for the entire 4 cups of tea that was in here. So me and Bennett probably drank a little bit more than a cup each. So it's probably safe to say it's 30 to 50 milligrams of THC in here for sure. Or and on some other phytocannabinoids, but THC is going to be your dominant one. And that's just me kind of breaking down a little bit of the math, and it could be off, but that's how you're supposed to do the equation, right? So again, if you actually decarboxylated it properly at 235 degrees, not at, this is the volcano vaporizer turned up to 7. So that's probably temperature wise closer to like 500 degrees. And so it has that for just that quick moment. And again, it's usable still, but it's not the same decarboxylation process as like, a 25
And it was only
minute.
run once, so it's not like the product was like extracted to its maximum. It was.
So the boiling with the butter should have helped. Like, it should have gotten a lot of it, but again, you're still going to have that THC that did get burned out in the bag. So it's not as straight up math as the decarboxylation math, as like I've sent our budtenders and our team that would just do it in the oven. That math's going to be a lot more accurate than this. But either way, it's good to be able to estimate those doses, to know your dose, find your dose.
Yeah,
right?
Now I know how much to dose for later on in the day. I'm like, okay, I've already had a cup of tea today.
A cup of tea, exactly. So, it's great. And exactly, some people might have your daily cup of tea. Now you know how to change it up a little bit, or if you ever want to change it up.
I have a daily cup of tea in the morning.
What kind of tea?
So I switch it up. I either do green tea, a mint medley, or matcha. I love matcha.
That sounds great.
But matcha, I do more like a matcha latte style. But I kind of want to medicate a matcha now, like this, similar. Do we medicate matcha?
That sounds
next?
like a good idea. Medicated matcha, yeah, that sounds like a health spree of benefits there, guys.
Can we do that next time?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah!
I'm down for sure. That sounds great.
Yeah. I love matcha. You don't
Christmas.
know what you just did.
What do you have on the menu for Christmas, Bennett? So next Monday, are you?
I don't know. Actually, I have to get with my tias and see what they want me to make, what they want me to bring. I just know that.
Can you make tamales? Are you that
Oh my
person?
gosh. Yeah, I've made tamales once. I made them by myself, and it was my first. It was my first Christmas away from home. So I really just needed tamales. And I lived in Washington, so I was like, I'm not going to find tamales out here. So I made tamales, but I was pregnant. So I despised the smell of the lard. I despise the smell of the pork, because when you make the red ones are typically traditionally made with pork. So I was like, I'm going traditional. So I called my grandma. She gave me the recipe, literally walked me through. You need to buy this, buy that, buy this, buy this, do that. That's what I was doing. So I bought the pork. The smell of the pork and the smell of the lard just doesn't sit well with me. I can only eat them now. I can't make them. I can help someone make them, but I just can't do it again. Fair. It's like a trauma. It like triggers. It really is. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't do it. I will help. I will always be. I can be a prepper at the My Prepper. I will put it on there for you guys and roll it up, and I'll do that. But I won't do the whole 9. And I'm sorry,
guys. If somebody makes cannabis tamales, then you are my hero. If you can somehow slip it in the masa,
I can see
that
something
sounds
about
fun.
it.
That sounds awesome.
What are you planning to do or make?
So I guess my favorite thing to eat during Christmas is fudge. I don't make fudge. I go and basically eat my mom and my sister's fudge. So I'm actually a dish guy. I like doing dishes. I don't love. I guess I don't necessarily get in the cooking process as much as I've found myself doing the dishes. So I feel like I found a good place for myself there, because not many people want to do the dishes. So I could just be like, well, I have my job and I'm good, and then you guys can do everything else.
I'm good at that. I know what I'm good at. That's funny. Okay. All right. And when you said dish for a second, I thought you meant like making whole dishes, not
fair. Not
washing
scrubbing the dishes.
Okay,
No,
that's
I
your
need
job.
to get, so I do, it's my goal. I want to learn how to make red chili, but I still haven't learned how to make red chili. I need to learn how to really do it well.
What about
That's
trying to
one
make
thing
your
I
own
don't do well.
fudge? Fudge doesn't make.
And I should
Is
do
it
the fudge.
is it hard to make?
So I mean,
Do the same thing that we did with the bizcochitos. Just put a whole syringe into the same process of making fudge.
I thought there was something to the stirring and the babying of like the stir. Like I think it takes maybe some time, but I haven't. I have, and again, it's makeable. I can make some fudge. I haven't committed to making the fudge, and I make those excuses for myself. So I will. I'm gonna make something.
We can try. We can do it. We can do it on the podcast, and you can take it home.
Sounds good. Guys, so get ready to thinking about 2024. We'll be reviewing that next week.
Last question for you.
Yes.
For you. From Maine. Does taking high potency painkillers due to surgery affect how edibles affect you?
Actually, yes, because high potency painkillers affect your obviously pain perception and the pain tolerance at the pain receptor. Cannabis acts on that pain receptor as well, not in the exact same spot, but on the same place, right along the spine. So your CB1 and CB2 receptors are also going to contribute to that pain control. So where you see, high potency painkillers, of course, you may get that after surgery. Your friends and family might. Some people are like, I don't want to take painkillers, or some people are leery about it. You should be, right? They give you more than you probably need. So something to think about. Maybe you take your first dose right after that surgery and get into the cannabis and you're good. Or you can start tapering yourself right away.
Degrading the dose.
Because you've got cannabis at home. So again, maybe don't shortchange yourself. But again, think about it, and it's something to keep in mind, because some people are like, well, I'll just switch to Motrin or Tylenol right away after these surgeries. This is kind of the same thing in light. Again, on the pre-surgery side, just to remind everybody, anesthesia does interfere with cannabis. So when it says 2 days before, don't use cannabis before anesthesia, take that seriously. You do have to get off, because it will not let the anesthesia work. And who wants to be awake during surgery? Imagine that nightmare there. So I would abstain from cannabis for those 2 days.
For the sake of the surgery.
That was our, final question.
That was final question. All done. You guys have a Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas. And if you guys don't get one of these, then let us know. But